This is Let's Talk About Magnum PI, the podcast from fans for fans of Magnum PI.
There we go.
It's Halloween!
As evident by our costumes!
Yes, I'm a red panda.
And I'm a witch.
You're always a witch, though.
True, I am. So are you.
Showing it off most of the time. Can you still hear me? Because Skype is being weird right now. Told me that my audio device changed.
I don't know, I can hear you.
Okay, fine. So I guess everybody else can still hear me. So, since it's Halloween, we decided to go for the spooky episode.
Mm-hmm. Also, it lined up beautifully with not having an episode this week, so...
Yes, and not getting a Halloween episode this year.
Sad.
Mm-hmm. Though I did watch Halloween episodes with Rhea last night. And I
saw your tweets.
I can never get over that. She's so good with horror movies. Like, I'm panicking hardcore, and I'm like, oh my god, it's stressing me so much. She's fine. But then there's 5-0 and Magnum PI Halloween episodes, and she's like falling for all the jump scares. And I'm like, I could see them coming from a mile away. I don't get why.
I'm a horror movie person.
I don't know why this is a thing, but apparently we're like complete opposites in what kind of horror thing we could take.
I forgot that 5-0 had more than one Halloween episode.
I think like 3 or 4 or 5.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, and Magnum had one. Just the one.
Just the one in season 2.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful episode, though. I love that episode.
It has the one in season 2 and the one in season 10 for 5-0 are technically on the same date, even.
It's true, they are.
Which is cool.
That's true. Back to back.
I
can't get over how cute the panda is.
Yeah, right? It even... You can't see it, but it has a tail. Which I'm sitting on.
Which must be uncomfortable.
I'm not used to a tail. I'm not a person who has a tail usually, so yeah.
I don't think anybody's used to having a tail.
Except for animals.
Right. I mean, yeah, a person. People-wise.
Though, there is people who are born with tails. It's we have genetics that would allow us technically to develop tails. They're just, very dormant genetics that are not meant to come out. Just like pointy ears aren't meant to come out, but they do in some people. Hairy faces aren't meant to come out, but they do in some people.
Interesting. Makes sense.
This is like my 5 minutes of useless knowledge.
It's not useless.
What could you possibly need a biological explanation for having a tail for?
I mean, it's simple genetics. It's not that you know that specifically, it's just genetics.
Yeah, but you can't do anything with it. Well, with that information.
I mean...
Genetically speaking, now let's go to the Migi shippers for a second. Genetically speaking, the Migi baby should have brown eyes and black hair and slightly darker skin.
Mm-hmm.
Because almost all of Juliet's traits are recessive.
Recessive. But if Thomas also has that recessive trait, which means he wouldn't exhibit it, but he could still be a carrier of it, then actually a recessive and a recessive makes it dominant. So if
you're lucky. If
I'm remembering my biology classes right, a recessive and a recessive will come together and be the dominant.
He has the recessive and the dominant. Could also mean the dominant and Juliet's recessive make his dominant appear. But if his recessive
if they
side
both
and
have
her
the
recessive,
if they both have the recessive, it should make a dominant. But if he doesn't have the recessive and she does, then the dominant will overtake the recessive.
No. No.
Totally.
You have more than one set of genes. You have one father and one mother.
Yes, I know.
So you have you can carry her recessive and his dominant at the same time, and depending on what set of genes currently is in that little swimmer or is in that little egg, could be either way.
But if you do the Punnett square, it'll show you. Anyways, because red hair is a recessive gene, which means that both, in order to have red hair, both have to have the recessive gene, and the recessive genes, if both have them, end up being more powerful than dominant, from what I remember. Then I got lied to in high school.
Completely dependent on luck, because if you carry both a recessive and a dominant gene, you can pass either on. Just completely set of luck. So
then the Miggy baby would look more like Magnum.
Or if let's say his mother was blonde, then, chances are still that Miggy baby could still be blonde. But it's just like a 50-50 chance on Magnum's side. With the higher
do the Punnett square for that.
With the higher percentage of him passing on a little dark-headed baby.
So cute, no matter what gene they would have.
Wow, that was off topic. We're having a spooky episode and we're discussing genetics for Miggy.
I mean, genetics could be spooky, depending.
Oh, genetics can be fucking scary.
So, off topic, but not so off topic.
You can pass on some real scary shit. For example, leukemia. Scary shit. But let's go and talk about ghosts. Ghost stories of Hawaii, more specifically.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Well, I have just mainly one. I have the 5 of Hawaii's creepiest urban legends, but there's one that I specifically want to talk about, and I'm sure you can add on to it, which is the Night Marchers.
Oh, yes.
Which is
how about
my favorite.
For the end, though, because it's our favorite.
Okay, so then you go first, because that's my main one.
That's your main one. I would like to start with the origins of the house that was in the Halloween episode.
Ooh.
Because there is a house like that. It's the Kaimuki house in Kaimuki in Hawaii, Oahu. According to legend, there's a kasha, a man-eating Japanese ghost kind of thing in that house, and there's been several incidents where police was called and the police officers witnessed the ghost. There's reports and shit. First instance was of a mother, I think, calling a police, calling HPD, and she's like, oh, she's killing my children, and he's arriving there, and something invisible is holding up the children and choking them.
Ooh, I have something to add to the choking part.
The choking ghost, aka the pressing ghost, very common in Hawaii.
That's what I was gonna say. I said the choking ghost is said to be the most prevalent ghost in the island, perhaps because so many cultures have a version of the choking ghost. In Hawaii, everyone seems to have a story about waking up in the middle of the night and feeling like something is pressing on their chest and choking them. You try to scream, but you can't. You try to move, but that fails too. And just when you think you'll suffocate, the ghost leaves.
There is so many choking ghost stories. There is actually another podcast, Ghost Lore of Hawaii, that has a choking ghost story that I listened to at work, gave me goosebumps at work. So basically there was a kid in Manoa, Manoa, that encountered a choking ghost. More than once. in a dorm room, yes, due to someone having killed themselves due to being haunted by a baka neko, a ghost cat.
Ooh. I have to say, dorm rooms can get pretty creepy when the power goes out. It happened to me when I was in university, and one day they turned off the power, and I have the most epic picture of this long, pitch black hallway, and it is the creepiest thing, and I'll never forget that morning.
Shall I just shock you? Up until, like, last Thursday, I was actually more inclined to get as a dorm room in UH Manoa instead of the apartment in Waikiki.
We should have!
We couldn't because it was gone.
Oh, fair enough.
So, I would have gotten it, but, you know, we now have an apartment in Waikiki.
Which we haven't told anybody about what's happening.
Yeah, we might as well come clean. I am leaving Germany in December.
And I'm leaving Canada in December.
I mean, you're returning in December. I'm not.
That's true. You're staying longer than I am. Because I have to work.
I am staying a full 4 weeks.
And I'm there for 11 days?
Yeah.
I think. But if you haven't figured out, we are going to Hawaii! And we're very, very, very excited.
She's more excited than I am because I'm staying for 4 weeks. It's like I'm currently trying to do the maths on everything.
Yeah, me too. we're in the beginning planning stages, but it's happening.
I can basically shoot planning out of the window right now because there's a lot of people who are like, tell me what you're doing, when are you arriving? I'm like, okay, people are making plans for me, I think. Okay, back to the ghost stories. Kaimuki House. Kaimuki House is not over yet. Second time a patrol car came to Kaimuki House. There was girls, and they ran out of the house after the police officer came, got into their car, and drove off, and suddenly stopped. And he got out of his car to check on that girl in the car, and she was being choked by an invisible force in the car. So the choking ghost actually followed her outside.
Creepy.
Yeah, so he, got her out of the car and put her in the squad car and drove off with her. Because you don't mess with a choking ghost.
Yeah, relentless choking ghost, man. Relentless.
That house has apparently also, there was murders in that house, there's more encounters of hauntings in that house, to the point where that house was torn down in 2016.
I was gonna say, we're not going there.
No, we can't. It doesn't exist anymore. But we're going to another haunted spot. I guarantee it to you. We're going there.
Do I want to know where this place is?
I'm pretty sure William's going to listen to this, and he knows where this place is, and I'm pretty sure he's already been there.
Ooh, so where is it?
The Pali Lookout.
Ooh, yes.
The Pali Lookout is apparently haunted by at least 800 Hawaiian warriors.
I heard you can't take meat across the Pali or the warriors get upset.
Wrong, but that's a totally different story. But yes, similar. The Pali Lookout haunting is based on when King Kamehameha united the islands. That's where one of the last battles on Oahu took place, and they drove the Oahu army off the cliff there. And
didn't we have that happen in Magnum? Didn't Kumu tell the story about that battle?
Yes. That was the battle that was referenced in Magnum, actually, yeah. And yeah, so apparently that's haunted by these warriors. The Pali, though, the Pali and the Pali Highway have a second story attached to it, which is the story of Kumu. Let me just check that name again, because I don't want to misquote that name. God damn it. This is what happens when you have too many stuff open. I've got tabs, so many tabs, because there is so much happening in Hawaii.
I'm guilty as well, but on my work computer. You saw the picture I sent you with all the tabs open.
Yeah, I did. Okay, I can't find the name. This, or, can I? Hawaiian Ghost Story. Okay, anyway, there is a pig-headed god, or being in the Hawaiian story, and he was in love with Pele, and she was in love with him. Pele being the fire goddess, the volcano goddess that has a lot of stories attached to her. And due to a very bad breakup, she forbids. So Oahu is basically divided into two sides. You have the leeward side, the windward side. I think windward side is the side of Kailua, and there is, I think, the H1 is along the poly, the divider, and you can't take pork across the line, otherwise your car will break down and an old white lady with a white dog will appear. And the only way, you get to drive on or not get killed is if you toss the pork. And there is apparently a story of a bus driver breaking down and him going completely, "Which of you assholes brought pork onto my bus?" Got the pork because there was pork, tossed it out, and the bus was fine.
Weird.
Hawaiian ghosts are really fucking weird.
But awesome.
Yeah, speaking of Pele, apparently she's been seen in the Hilton Hawaiian Village, dressed in red and dancing, as well as on the lava field. And very important for anyone going to Hawaii, if you see a little white lady, especially if she has a white dog with her, older lady, offer her a ride if she's hitchhiking. Because if it's Pele and you don't, she's going to destroy your home.
She's vengeful.
Oh, she is. If it's not Pele, well, you've been nice to an old lady.
Good to know.
Pick up old ladies. Drive them home. Or wherever they want to go. Because she might just destroy your home. Another story to Pele is my personal creep story of the year. You cannot ever take lava rock from Hawaii with you. Ever.
No, I knew this.
Yeah, because Pele will avenge you. And apparently Volcano National Park has stones sent back to them very regularly because people have bad luck with the stones that they took.
Yeah, I've heard that it's really bad luck to take it.
Do you want to know the creepiest story that we might run into without even knowing?
Yeah?
The waiting lady of the Honolulu airport.
Why does this sound like so creepy?
Because it is! There is multiple reports of passengers arriving and leaving, seeing a blonde lady standing in the airport waiting for someone without luggage, without anything. And every time security comes to check up on that lady, she's not there anymore. That's because it's a lady that has committed suicide after her boyfriend left the island. She's waiting for him still. So if after landing or before taking off you see a blonde lady waiting for someone, do not approach.
Run very far away.
She's not vengeful. She's just there. She's not hurting you. She's just a poor unfortunate soul that waits forever.
I'm still gonna run. I don't need to be anywhere near a ghost.
Says the one who's living in a house where someone died.
True. Which my friend always jokes is haunted because she's never lived in like an older house before, and one time she was over and she was sitting in my room and I came downstairs to get something, and we have these old rads that are like hot water rads, so they make noises and they kind of like, for lack of a better word, they explode and they make like a ping when they explode because it's like the hot water steam like against the thing, and I'm used to it because I've lived here my entire life. And she's upstairs, I'm downstairs, I hear it, and she screams. She's like, "Liz! Oh my god! What was that?" And she's like freaking out. She comes running downstairs, like cowering behind me. And I'm like, "It was just the rad." She's like, "But it wasn't the ghost of Mrs. Payne?" I'm like, "No." And yes, her name is actually Mrs. Payne. I swear that's her name. Her
You live in a horror movie.
I do. Her husband built all of the houses that are on my street, but this house is the first house that he ever built, and it was the house that he lived in. And apparently she died in the house, or legend has it. And apparently she died in the room that I sleep in, but
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Feel like ghost house.
You're tempting faith. Fate, not faith. So, another thing about Hawaiian ghost stories that I find really interesting is that you find ghosts from all over the world.
Makes sense.
Every culture that immigrated to Hawaii brought some of their ghosts with them. So we have the kasha, we have the bakaneko, and we have a mushina. Reported in Kahala Theater and around the area is a faceless woman, a mushina. I don't know how to pronounce that properly. Another Japanese ghost.
Makes sense because the Japanese had such a presence in Hawaii, right? So
yeah. There's also, if you're in any form around specific heiau sites, those ghosts could be very scary. So there is specific heiaus around Hawaii where human sacrifice was a thing. And usually around those heiaus you have quite the interesting ghosts. Because people were executed there, brutally.
Again, we're staying away.
I mean, there's heiaus, like Kane's heiaus that are completely without human sacrifice because these gods didn't require them, but there's others that require them, so yeah, we're staying away from those.
Yeah, not down for ghosts.
There's another place that's really not easy to find out about, but I did. So we have, that's the Night Module story. There's a plantation area, a plantation museum where you have houses like the sugarcane plantation workers worked, and that's supposed to be haunted by these old ghosts. And we have Makapu'u Point.
I've heard about Makapu'u Point.
What did you hear?
I just know the name. I don't know much about it other than the name.
Makapu'u Point is where historically the Hawaiians brought their deformed children to, and they died there. And if you spend a long time on the beach, you might hear the babies crying. And I'm not going there!
Nope. We'll go to other beaches, thank you very much.
Yes. This is not my... I can't... No, not babies. This is where I'm crossing the line. Not babies.
Nuh-uh.
There's two other places. I don't have my notes with me, but there's a place in Maui that I'm not touching with a 10-foot pole, even though my characters in my book will touch it with a 10-foot pole. It's the place where Hawaiian spirits launch into the water. Which is it's a cool place, but I don't know, for me, like, I'm a haole. I don't belong on this island. Even though it's, like, kind of, like, thanks to a lot of people that I love living there, it's kind of like a home away from home. Even though we've never been. Mm-hmm. But, like, I've been adopted, apparently. And I don't know, it feels disrespectful to go there.
Yeah. It's a fine line.
Yeah. I kind of also want to stay clear of Manoa Valley, but I know I can't.
No, we have to go.
Yeah. And then, if you've watched Hawaii Five-0, you've seen the Triple Army Medical Hospital, which is, where McGarrett got his liver transplant and everything. I want to know the creepy part.
Yes.
The creepy part is that, according to Hawaiian legend, this hospital is located in the area where the entrance to the underworld is.
The hell no?
It's like an awesome place to put a hospital. Straight to hell. If you die, you go straight to hell, because that's the closest thing.
All I'm thinking is Buffy the Vampire Slayer and the Hellmouth. That's all I'm thinking. So anybody who's a Buffy fan will get that one.
Apparently not me.
It's basically that her school was on top of the entrance to hell, and that's why it's like so creepy and haunted and everything.
Makes sense. I mean, we've seen a lot of entrances to hell in Supernatural, for example. There is a book, The Gates of Hell by J.F. Penn. Fucking awesome. Read it. Recommended. On the other side, less creepy, is between roughly Kailua and Kualoa Ranch is apparently where the Garden of Eden, or the equivalent, the paradise of Hawaiian folklore is, because Kane built himself like a clay man, and he breathed life into him, and then gave him a woman, and they got the paradise until Kane betrayed them. It sounds very Christian, doesn't it?
It does.
But then again, like, a lot of cultures had that paradise theme in their origin story, so there might be some truth to it, who knows? Mm-hmm. So anyway, that's where this was supposedly. And everyone who's seen Kualoa Ranch, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yep.
Idyllic. What else do we have?
Are we at the Night Marchers yet?
I think we're at the fact that I have a lot of people who actually claimed to have encounters with ghosts, and most of them have had encounters with, let me look up the name. Yeah, no. There's no way I can actually pronounce that properly. Let's not pronounce that properly, and let's go straight to the actual name. Night Marches. A lot of people that I know have had some encounters with Night Marches, and when talking to them, I have gotten only one reaction. Do what the legend tells you to do.
Well, should I give a brief over of what a Night Marcher is, and then we go into the story?
Yes, please.
Alright, so it says, watch out for night marchers. Ghosts of old Hawaiian warriors travel along set paths, often in and around places where battles took place, or near heiaus. People living near their path say they've heard drumming and conch shells blowing. Those who have seen them say the night marchers have no legs and walk on air in phalanx formation. If you make eye contact with one of them, they will take you with them to the spirit world, unless a relative takes your place. If you find yourself in a path of a night marcher, you should get out of there. If you can't, you should belly down on the ground to show respect, and most definitely should not look up when they're trying to provoke you.
It's not full. It's not the full story.
Well, that's just the basics.
Yeah, that's the basics. If you encounter a night marcher. So what the night marchers are doing is they're taking newly deceased spirits to the underworld. So there's set paths and there's set nights where you're guaranteed to encounter night marchers. So you're staying the fuck away from these paths, especially in those nights. What happens if you encounter a night marcher is even more gruesome, actually. If you are a howly like us, get the fuck out of there. You can't stop them. If you're in the howly, they're gonna take you to the underworld, no matter what. If you're lucky and you have a relative in the procession, what you're doing is you strip down naked and get belly down, and you don't look up at them. Get the fuck naked. Don't know why, but you have to get naked.
It's showing more respect.
Yeah, being vulnerable in front of them. Like, okay, that's fine. But yeah, it's pretty gruesome. These warriors. Have you seen Finding Ohana?
Yes, that came into my head too when I was reading it.
Yeah. So in the movie Finding Ohana, night marches are emerging from a kapu cave to get the treasures from the cave that have been stolen back. And it's so spooky. You hear the drums and conch shells, and you hear the torch, and you see the torches, and they're called torchbearers often.
Well, makes sense, yeah, because they're walking with all the torches, right? So
yeah.
It's a cool name for them.
Yeah, for a cool concept, even. Some people say that they are looking for their final battle. Whatever that is.
Well, it jives with the fact that that the legend says it's often where battles took places, right?
Yeah.
Place. Yeah.
There's like fixed roads that they're taking, multiple ones. And if you live along the Night Marcher Trail, a lot of people report that they happen. There's also apparently, along the Pali, there's also apparently a banyan tree that has a hole in the middle, which is apparently where the Night Marchers walk through.
And
there's a place that I heard of that you can actually visit in a ghost tour for Hawaii. Only during the day. Because the Night Marcher processions are at night.
Right.
Where some poor unfortunate idiots decided to go relatively late. And suddenly they hear drums.
I'm out.
Because they're at the end of a Night Marcher trail. The fucking idiots.
I'm out. Nope.
Not going
No
there.
ghost tours.
I'm
no ghost tours.
I am not risking the Night Marchers ever.
Nope.
They're a scary concept. I mean, they're a cool concept because they're like the protectors of the island in a way. But if you're a howly, you've no chance of surviving them.
Yeah, no.
There's in the Ghost Lore from my podcast, the guy speaks of a story where a teacher came across some night marches. His school was on the trail, and he was in the car, and they pushed the car out of the way with him inside it. Scary shit. So apparently,
what was that?
a friend of mine apparently encountered them in the woods. Got out of there. No.
Okay.
Still got out of there, because you don't mess with the night marches.
Yeah, they're a force to be reckoned with. You just don't do it.
You want to know something that always spooked in my head?
Go for it.
So, I like Hawaii Five-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like the Hawaiian culture. I'm reading up on it for several reasons. And there's the concept of hanai, which is adopting. Like, informal adopting. And in my head, Steve McGarrett has always been, like, the island has taken him in hanai. He's an adopted son of Hawaii. And in my head, when Steve dies, he's becoming a night marcher.
Wasn't he born there?
Yeah, but he's not a native Hawaiian.
True.
That's what I mean. Unless there's, like, way down the line native Hawaiian. But he's not, biologically ATM Hawaiian. He would count as Hawaii. Well, adopted into Hawaii, Hawaii. Yeah, so in my head, when he dies, he's becoming a night marcher.
He's a night marcher. Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that.
Because he's been protecting the island, and the island's just like, okay, you can continue to protect it.
Truth.
You're fine. You're just going to be a ghost for the rest of your ghostly life.
Does that mean that Magnum and Higgins get to be adopted in as well because they're also protecting the island?
I don't know. Maybe they're earning that.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Could be.
I don't even know if females get to be night marchers.
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know of a female night marcher so far. I know plenty of female ghosts, but night marchers?
But night marchers? It's interesting. We'll have to do some research into that one.
Further.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, there is a place in Hawaii that you should also avoid based on stories and ghosts. And honestly, the moment I tell you that there's gonna be ghosts, you're gonna be like, of course there's ghosts.
Where?
USS Arizona.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
So apparently Pearl Harbor is haunted as fuck.
Oh, well, it makes sense based on the history, right?
Yeah, there is apparently an Australian tourist that photographed the thing, and there was an apparition, a screaming apparition on a photo. And apparently, sometimes you see a plane, like a World War II plane.
Like a ghost plane?
Yeah. There's apparently a ghost plane over Pearl Harbor. There is apparently 2 warehouses where you can see ghosts. Haunted as fuck, that place, isn't it?
Seems it. Jeez.
There was a heiau on Big Island. That's now, there's lava, taken by lava since, like, end of last century. 1989 or something, where lava overtook that heiau. And it's one of these human sacrifice heiaus.
Oh.
Ghosts! There's apparently ghosts there. And Pele.
I mean...
Who's surprised that Pele would dance there?
Not surprised at all.
Around that place, Hawaiians also place flowers and stuff in the cracks of lava for Pele.
They want to honor her and respect her so she doesn't become super vengeful against them.
Yeah, if Pele is pissed, run.
You're not doing well if Pele's pissed at you.
A little story. Apparently Pele originated in Tahiti. And she was cast out because she tried to seduce her sister's husband. So she's now in Hawaii. What? Pele is causing a lot of love triangle-ish trouble.
I mean, because she was scorned.
Yeah, more than once.
Mm.
Pele is a force.
Yeah, one that you don't want to mess with.
Yeah. Remember the episode in Hawaii Five-0 where the pork and the poly thing were a thing? Where a poor unfortunate soul took pork across the poly?
No. I do rewatch a lot of Hawaii Five-0.
Yeah, I do. So, they also encountered the Green Lady of Wahiwa. Well, they mentioned that. The Green Lady of Wahiwa was apparently a woman who went there on a little stroll with her children, and she lost one of her children. And she died of grief over losing one of her children. And she's now apparently sometimes appearing completely in green with like scales and moss in her hair. And some fucking idiot thought it was a great idea to build an elementary school there. And the Green Lady of Wahiwa is looking out to steal children.
To replace her child.
To replace her lost child. And some idiot builds an elementary school there!
Why? Just why?
I know, right? It's like, you...
Do people not know these things before they make decisions like this?
I think that's the problem, they do know it. Did you also know, that there is a highway, I think it's the H1, where a section where it took 7 years to build it because they couldn't find anyone wanting to build it because they found ancient Hawaiian bones where they wanted to build a highway. And most of the people had the sense not to want to build a highway there. Except 7 years later, the highway exists, and it's haunted by ancient Hawaiian warriors. Who would have thought?
They're probably pissed that their bones got disturbed.
Yeah, and also, you know, that's the place where they haunt.
Mm-hmm.
The resting place. So, going completely private, what do you think happens tonight and tomorrow?
What do you mean?
Ghost-wise.
Oh!
The veil between worlds is thin.
I don't know. I think ghosts will come out. I also love the Latin American version, Dias de los Muertos.
November 2nd this year.
November 2nd? I thought isn't it the 1st to the 2nd? Doesn't it cross over 2 days? I thought it was the 1st.
I don't know. I just know it's November 2nd. Where if you Google it, it's November 2nd. And maybe it's November 2nd to 3rd. I don't know.
I think it's 1st to 2nd because it's always the day after like what we call Halloween. And I think it's such a great thing because I mean, has anybody seen Coco?
No, I'm not watching that ever again.
Why? What's wrong with Coco?
You're crying my heart out at the end.
I love Coco.
You just sounded like me. I love Coco. Or was it Predator?
It was pretty. She's like, I love Coco.
I mean, no, but genuinely up until then.
No, I really like Coco actually, and I think like that's it. It's all about like the ancestors crossing over to be able to see their relatives living on the other side, and I think that does happen. I think that's probably what's going to happen in the next couple nights. The spirits will cross through.
Yeah, it's similar for me. There is a reason why across the world this night is, or the next nights are almost always in any form related to, you know, the veil between worlds being thin and ghosts crossing over. There's All Hallows, which is tomorrow for Germany. Then Samhain, Halloween, Dias de los Muertos. I think there's another one. There's a lot of death-related celebrations around this time. So something has to be true about
happening.
That. I think is it not also Witch Night? Or is that the other side of the coin?
There's something to do with witches, but I can't remember what it is.
Okay, so on the other side of that, in end of April, it's Walpurgis night, where witches gather on the Blocksberg in Germany. I think there's also a corresponding thing, though. Beltane is the other side of the coin. Something concerning witches is happening tonight, too.
That's, yeah, there's definitely something. It's all merging together, but yeah, witches, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. I mean, witches do celebrate Samhain. Again.
Witches hat.
Yeah. Again, the veil between worlds is gonna be very fucking thin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very fucking thin.
Very fucking thin.
Yeah, so be prepared. And of course, that means I have to watch horror movies tonight. Because it's not enough for the veil to be.
As above, so below. As above, so below.
Whew! Never.
Really?
Not on Halloween ever.
It's the only horror movie I can actually watch.
There's a second one that's really fucking similar to As Above, So Below. It's what is it called? The Pyramid in English too.
I think.
Yeah. It's the same kind of style, but As Above, So Below.
It's pretty.
Yes, and it's also creepy as fuck because I've seen it. I've seen it for the first time years ago, before I knew who Perdita was. When I came back from Paris.
Yeah, bad time.
Yeah, it's even a worse time because I spent like a day on the Père Lachaise cemetery and then accidentally almost walked into the catacombs. And then I come home and watch that. I'm like, I'm never going to Paris again, ever. I have been to Paris since.
I was gonna say you must have been to Paris since then.
Yeah, I've been to Disneyland and Versailles because there was a convention in Versailles. A Once Upon a Time convention in Versailles. It couldn't get any better. Like whoever organized that was a genius.
I would have liked that one. That one would have been good.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome. I love how Halloween always makes me want to do witchy stuff.
Yeah, it's a good excuse to do it.
Yeah, I'm like probably burning some sage tonight.
I love it. And I'm wearing my witch's hat, and I will probably be putting on my black dress with like a cape on it. I had to find it. I couldn't find it.
Do you hand out candy?
I do.
Oh, you got something like that. Oh, I'm so jealous.
Yeah.
We don't.
I used to go trick-or-treating as a kid.
I did that twice in my life. Once for myself and once I accompanied a little bat. aka my little cousin, and my grandpa was with us. It was so cute. I was already 18. So she would get candy and grandpa and I would get shots. Because full disclosure, you can drink hot alcohol from the age of 18 here. If you're 16, you can have like beer and shit. So I got the good shit.
Yeah, here you can have any alcohol as of 18.
I don't drink anymore, so that's not gonna happen anytime soon again.
Do I?
Drinking's no fun. I saw that at the convention too. Like, my friends were at the party and other people were at the party, and next morning they were like, so destroyed, and they looked like a truck ran over them, and I'm just like, I'm fine!
Yep.
I didn't drink! I also didn't stay at the party for long because it wasn't that fun without alcohol. So, like, what's the point?
True.
Yeah. It's getting warm under this thing.
I know, this thing is kind of making my head squeeze because it's kind of small.
I'm also in my studio. My studio is always in winter is always heated. It's the warmest house in my apartment. Not house, room in my apartment. Because of baby Tommy. Baby Tommy, also, I discovered two things yesterday about baby Tommy. A, baby Tommy is now tall enough to climb out of his bathtub. Baby Tommy still hates baths, but baby Tommy loves showers.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you shower him with like warm water, you will be so happy. As soon as you try to, shampoo his butt.
Nope.
Also standing in water.
Nope.
Visitor! It's a ghost. Or trick-or-treater.
Oh, no. I think it was just the phone. It's too early for trick-or-treating. It's still 9:30 in the morning. You have to wait for the sun to go down so that it's pitch black. When I was a kid, we used to do mini hot dogs and then trick-or-treating.
Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. I had, oh my goodness. I had a Halloween party once.
Ooh.
Despite, not celebrating Halloween a lot, but I had a few friends over and we stayed overnight in the garden shed, my grandpa's garden shed, which is in the middle of the forest.
Why?
Like his entire garden is in the middle of the forest. And we had a dog with us. Like a tiny little dog, and I had to take the dog out for a walk because he has to shit somewhere, right? So in the middle of the night, I took the dog out for a walk, and there was rustling. And the dog was shit scared
would never do it.
He wouldn't move anymore, and I'm just like picking up the dog because it's a tiny dog, Jack Russell Terrier. And I walked back with the dog. And when I arrived back, everyone was like, oh my god, thank goodness you're back! Did you see that? Did you hear that? There were figures out there! So apparently, while I was gone, there were figures running up and down the fence.
I'm out.
And they were gone just before we returned. So we went inside to sleep. And the rustling was back, and we went back outside, and the figures were back. And because I'm the only one that grew up there, I was like, dude, guys, go back to bed. It's just hogs. It was just some hogs running up and down.
I'm still out.
Shit, looking for food.
I would never.
And they're like, I
would never.
And the funny fact is, like, can't they break in? I'm like, yes, but why should they?
Oh, I would never.
They were like, but you've got stuff they could eat in here. I'm like, yeah, but also that requires effort to break down the fence. There's some idiot who never closes his garden down the road. And other stuff. So like they're running there to get the potatoes. Why would they break in here if they're free potatoes down there? But like, yeah, that was scary shit. I was like, there was figures like ghosts. Yeah, and the second time they came around, I was like, that's not ghosts, that's fully fleshed hogs. You don't want to get in the way of them, because they're hunting for food, but there's not ghosts.
They're not ghosts.
They're not dead. They're very much alive.
There's also scary shit.
It's also not a valley in my city where you would expect ghosts, because next to nobody died there. A valley over is a completely different story. Unknown to most people, even unknown to most Germans, there was a working camp in that valley during Nazi times. And there's like only a tiny plaque remembering that, and there's a memorial close to the Mercedes factory. But like that place, if I heard rustling there, I would probably be a little more scared than hearing rustling in the woods. Because there's hogs, but Yeah, I could see ghosts being there and them being pissed.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, even especially due to the fact that it's not very widely known that there was a working camp and that people died there. I mean, it's one thing to, commemorate, like, Auschwitz and shit. Because at least those ghosts, I don't know, if I was a ghost, I would be, at least I'm remembered, and I'm a warning for everybody not to do that shit again. Here? No. No, there's a spa right next to where the working camp was. This is not how you do remembrance.
Definitely not.
I mean, I love the spa, don't get me wrong, I really love that spa. I just loved it a little bit more before I knew there was a working camp.
Yeah. My god.
My other, where my other grandpa lived, he lived along one of the death marches. The road of the death marches. Yeah, also haunted.
You think?
It's
my god.
It's like night marches in even scarier. Because these people are, these ghosts are pissed. They're really pissed.
Yeah.
Night marches
tortured souls
are kind of noble to an extent. They have their purpose and they fulfill their purpose regardless of what's happening. These ghosts are pissed. And I don't want to cross pissed ghosts.
Nope. I'm out.
There's enough pissed ghosts in Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's I just remembered, there's like a corner where two things happened. There were two criminals killing each other. And was it a husband? Anyway, there was a woman tortured to death. And you can still hear her. Oh, no, she was tortured by these two criminals. And you can still hear her. And subsequently, there's been a lot of car accidents there. And there's more car accidents there. There's a lot of places where, stuff happened and you get a pileup of car accidents there. Because of ghosties. And
I was going to say, obviously the work of the ghosts.
Yeah, there was a woman who died somewhere. And, oh my goodness, there were subsequent car accidents, some of them not lethal, and the ones that survived are like, there was a woman, and I tried not to hit her! Yeah, that was a ghost, you could have driven straight through her.
Creepy.
She would still be pissed, though.
You think? My god.
There was, according to the Ghost Lore of Hawaii podcast, and you should listen to it, it's awesomely creepy, though they mention a lot of pakalolo and shit. And I'm not team take pakalolo unless you're actually injured. If you're injured and you're in pain, take pakalolo, I'm fine with that. Just not recreational.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, there was apparently I don't know if it was Big Island or Maui, there was apparently a hotel. And I can totally see that because there's more than one hotel that's like built and by the ocean there's a fucking heiau. It was abandoned because there was a lot of ghosts. And they still see ghosts there, and they tore it down, and there's still ghosts, and who would think that there's ghosts close to heiaus? Totally unimaginable.
I mean, never, right?
Heiaus, never. Oh, the dogs are barking. One of my neighbors must be coming home.
Lovely.
Yeah. Oh, there was another ghost story that I just had in my mind and it just flew right out. Ah! Oh, Lord, there's so many!
It's like Hawaii's known for them.
Hawaii's haunted.
100%.
Rightfully so. Like, if you imagine where Hawaii's located, it's the perfect place for a melting of cultures. And if you look at it, it's the last place populated from Polynesians.
Yep.
And they alone brought a lot of different shit.
Yeah. So it makes sense.
Yeah. Ugh. So much stuff. Oh!
So interesting.
There was a reported sighting of a banshee.
Ooh.
Fucking Irish ghost. In Hawaii.
Ooh. Shit. No words. Just shit.
So, like, if you're... Yeah. If your culture is in any form represented on Hawaii, chances are you brought some ghosties with you.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be surprised, like, there's some people that I know live there. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a Krampus on there. Somewhere. Krampus being related to Christmas, being, like, the anti-Santa, the scary anti-Santa. And a similar concept exists here, so...
It's almost like Hawaii itself is tortured.
It is, I think it is.
I think it is, too.
I mean, human sacrifice is gonna piss you off if you end up being a ghost.
Oh, yeah.
There's also a Hawaiian legend where a young prince accidentally came close to Heiau, close enough for the man-snatcher, I don't remember the technical term, to see him and mark him for death, and they killed him. And they wanted to disrespect his bones, and the ghost went to his father. And the father then went to the Heiau to get the ghost back. So, like, even the ancient Hawaiians knew of ghosts. Ghosts went there and, you know, warned people.
Yeah.
And shit. So, like, whew. Hawaii's haunted. It's also something that I really find interesting in general about humanity. Like, there's a lot of stories that happen similarly in similar cultures. Like dragons! There's a lot of cultures that have dragons.
Yeah.
And almost every culture has a form of ghost. If not every culture. Like, maybe there's something to it.
For sure. There has to be. There has to be.
Especially with ghosts. Like.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if one thing that every culture can agree on, it's ghosts.
Yeah. And maybe witchy premonitions.
Yep.
That being said, I think these witches should sign out.
I think so.
Unless we have spoilers. Do we have spoilers?
I should check. I'm kind of thinking we don't.
Except for the promo. We have a promo.
Yeah, did we talk about the synopsis for Devil on Your Doorstep? Did we talk about that?
I think
we did, eh?
Yeah. We did, eh?
What?
I just love the way you said that. We did, eh?
Yeah, very Canadian, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, unless. I don't know. Do we talk about that?
You mean the dream?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the dream.
Okay. So there was a photo posted of Perdita on a boat.
A sailboat, more specifically.
A sailboat, more specifically, where you can kind of see Jay on, like, the other... It's taken through a monitor, and you can see Jay on the other monitor. And then somebody else posted from that same sequence, hashtagging it Dream Sequence. So...
And then Jay and Perdita posted a picture of themselves on the sailboat.
On the sailboat, which caused insanity!
Which caused a lot of speculation, and I kind of apologize for being a little bit cryptic. But yeah, the dream hashtag is the thing that we were cryptic about.
Yeah. But that's it, really. There's not been much this week, except for the promo,
except for the promo.
Which I think is misleading, FYI. I think it's
totally is.
Yeah. It's definitely not all happening at the same time. Like,
it can't. You can actually see the time.
Yeah, it's different.
The time progression in Higgins' story. But it might actually, Magnum might react to something along those lines.
Yeah.
Though I think, and this is me, I think he reacts to something that happens later.
What do you think?
I mean, we know she's on a roof and she's running across the roof, so she might, have to toss or drop her phone to run across that roof.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's happening later, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but that's my theory at the moment.
So, I mean, it was a very, very, very short promo. It was only like 11 seconds or something like that. It was hardly a promo.
It was a strange one. There was only 2 scenes, technically. Well, not scenes, but two sequences.
Yeah.
Magnum being worried about Higgins, and
Higgins
being in trouble.
Yeah, Higgins running.
Yeah. And that they can go for very misleading promos is something that we learned the very hot way in episode 2. Where it looked like everybody was alarmed about TC and nobody.
Oh, yes.
Listen. That's like very misleading. Thank you very much. Here we are, waiting for a TC-centric episode, and that is what you gave us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that genuine sunshine behind you?
It can't be because it's pouring rain. It's absolutely pouring rain here.
Same.
It's downpouring.
Just way later at 3 p.m.
Yeah, it's 10 to 10 here.
We had daylight saving tonight.
Ours only starts next week or the week after, I think.
Somewhere around that. I know that we have to have a weird time for Magnum next Friday.
Oh, because it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's this cross. It's for me this crossroad where I might not actually go to bed.
Because it'll be like 2 a.m. for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness, I am looking forward to being in Hawaii and having it at a decent time. Oh, wait, actually, it's like in the middle of the day.
Yeah, it's like 3 p.m.
Yeah. Shit. I mean, have adventures at that time.
But I mean, for one day, we could plan around it. For just the Fridays, we can be like, nope, this needs to happen. Or we wait for 9 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time and watch it on their version of CBS. But I don't want to wait that long because I'm.
Also, can't you stay off of Twitter that long?
Oh hell no! No way I could ever stay. Not when I know everyone's talking about it. No way.
No.
So, we will be watching feeds.
Yeah, we're planning around that, I think. Unless we stupidly book our helicopter flight at that time. Then priorities, please.
But we're gonna try not to book our helicopter tour at that time.
I mean...
I'm already freaking out if there's an episode on December 3rd. Because, again, we don't know if there'll be an episode on December 3rd. There might be, there might not be, because we have to have a couple other weeks off, other than American Thanksgiving, in order for the timing to work. But, company Christmas party on a Friday night. And I'm like...
My darling, might I mention that December 3rd is the worst timing for me? Because for me, it would technically be, I get up for Magnum is finished, I get into the car, and go to fly to Honolulu.
Oh, you're only leaving on the 3rd, okay.
No. it leads into Saturday 4th, and I fly on the 4th.
On the 4th. Okay.
Which is funny, like on paper my flight takes 12 hours.
Yeah.
In reality it takes 24.
Yeah.
Like I leave tomorrow in the morning, well, 13 hours. I leave at 8 a.m. And I land in Honolulu at 9 p.m.
Okay.
But there's like 24 hours in between there.
Yeah. I leave Montreal at 9:30 in the morning, and I arrive at 3:15 in the afternoon, Hawaii time. But there's 10 hours and 48 minutes in between.
You have a direct flight. I have torture.
I do. Yeah, you do have torture. I'm on the first ever direct flight.
I fly from Frankfurt Airport to London Heathrow to Los Angeles Airport. In Los Angeles, I have to take another PCR test and get pre-cleared for Hawaii. There's a whole problematic thing around that, but good news, half of you won't care, so you can turn off and we'll see you next time. But good news is that high-risk areas, you can go, you don't have to quarantine when you come back from high-risk areas if you have a test, which you have to have in order to board the flight to Germany, and if you're vaccinated, so I can forego the quarantine.
Which is good.
As of now.
Yeah, hopefully stuff doesn't change.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be as careful as I can, obviously, because I don't want that shit.
Nope.
I haven't had the flu once in my life. Like, one of my coworkers the other day was like, oh, everybody had the flu and it didn't kill us. I'm like, I didn't. He's like, how did you not get the flu? Did you get flu shots every year? I'm like, no. I was careful. You know, I tend to stay away from people who have the flu.
Yeah. I mean, I do too.
Question: Who's
Happy birthday in the background?
Yeah!
It's my cousin's birthday.
Happy birthday to your cousin!
Yeah, he's born on Halloween.
Aww! So probably with the soul of a dead person.
Probably.
I mean, we might have all been born with the soul of a dead person, who knows?
True.
Okay, goodbye, you listen. See you next time.
Yeah. Goodbye, everyone.
Watch this. Bye.